Hi, Sarah here. Welcome back. I really liked diving into the Muse Tarot and just looking at my favorite cards and discussing them on camera. And I feel like sharing other decks where I also have other favorite cards and I can babble about them for a few minutes on camera. So today we're looking at The Way of the Panda Tarot by Kimberly M. Sun and illustrated by Celia LaBelle. And let me tell you, Celia's illustrations in this deck just really bring the deck to life. I mean, I guess that's what an illustrator does, right? Just brings the deck to life visually. This was my very first deck, the mini version of The Way of the Panda Tarot, the baby version. That was my first tarot deck when I first started learning tarot in 2020. So I have worked with this deck for a very long time. It caught my eye at a time when I had no idea what tarot was, but I just saw that these beautiful, adorable, colorful panda illustrations just really spoke to me. The pandas also feel very open and non-gendered in a way that also really speaks to me. So I just have a lot of love and a lot of personal connection to The Way of the Panda Tarot. I have an older edition of the deck, so that's why the box looks like this. I think the newer version comes with like a single piece box instead of a two-piece box. This is the mini version box here. There's Celia, the illustrator. The mini version does not come with a physical guidebook. It does come with a digital guidebook, and the physical version, or the regular size version of the deck, does come with a physical guidebook, like so. So it's got little messages and also upright meanings and shadow meanings or reverse meanings of each of the cards. And you can also buy an additional larger guidebook called the Book of Pandas, also supplementary or complementary to this deck, where the guidebook only mentions like little messages and again, light attributes, shadow attributes for each card. The guidebook will have little stories for each of the pandas here. So for example, for the Hermit, let me show you the Hermit. My cat is playing her puzzle toy in the background. That's what the shuffling sound is. We've got a little paragraph introducing what the Hermit is, and then some stories about the panda in this card. This panda is named Solomon. Every single panda in this deck has a name. There's Panda Power Up, which is just more like strengths of this panda, of this Hermit card. Some more bullet points. And then for each of the major arcana, there's actually a spread. So Kim has custom designed a spread for each of the major arcana, which I think is super cool. The minor arcana also have a substantial amount of information on each panda or each card. Again, like paragraph describing the panda, and then describing the pandas in the card and what their strengths are, what their personalities are. The minor arcana don't have custom spreads like the major arcana do, but still, 22 custom spreads for each of the major arcana is a great feat. You can buy the guidebook digitally or in a physical version off like Amazon, I believe. All right, so getting into the cards, my favorite cards, and just babbling through this deck. Similar format as before, I'm just going to quickly flip through the cards, and when I find a card that is a favorite, I will stop and babble about it. Let's see the cards. A first favorite card, we've got the Hierophant. This is one of my favorite Hierophants. I love the different kind of interpretation here compared to someone who is like elevated above like two smaller people or two smaller figures. This Hierophant here just represents someone who is translating knowledge. The idea of translating like what you see into like all these different colors, deconstructing it, that is very visually apparent here. I think this is one of the strongest cards in the deck. This helped me understand the meaning and the ideas of the Hierophant a lot more than many other cards have. Okay, there's a few cards that I'm going to pull to the side and I will explain why later. All right, another favorite card is the Wheel of Fortune. I initially did not quite understand this card. I thought it was maybe too simplistic, but thinking on it more, there is a lot of meaning I can glean from this card using the Ferris wheel to represent the Wheel of Fate. There are times when we will be at the bottom and we will just enjoy the views and experiences that come with being at the bottom here. And other times we'll be in the middle and on the other side of the Ferris wheel. And other times we will be on the top. Sometimes we're able to look big picture at things. Sometimes we're able to see like a perspective from over here that we didn't see over here. And sometimes we are very focused on the smaller details, and that's why we're like towards the bottom. And in the middle of it all, we're just a panda enjoying a snack and just trying to enjoy the ride as we go. Okay, unsurprisingly, the Justice card from The Way of the Panda is another absolute favorite card. This is another really, really strong card from the deck. I love the visual depiction here of basically having boundaries between what works for you and what doesn't work for you. The visual dichotomy, or the visual like contrast of color on this side and grayscale on this side here. I feel that this card could still be read neutrally though, because we could question like whether keeping things or people or whatever it is away from us is actually beneficial for us. Are we being too hasty with boundaries? Or do we need to set more boundaries? So this card can be like a neutral check-in fact. It can be a prescriptive statement. And yeah, like I said, one of the strongest cards in this deck. It just brings me back to what I said earlier about Celia being like a perfect artist for this deck. And of course, Kim probably came up with the ideas for these herself too. I just feel like this was a perfect pair of creator and illustrator. Oh ho ho, another favorite card, Death. Oh my gosh, another stunning visual representation of what death can mean. Yes, we see what looks like a panda who has like passed on, but we also see what is growing in place of or with or because of this panda's passing. So we have moss growing on here, more flowers, and the emotion in this card, it feels so serene. It feels very neutral. It feels like a very good stopping point of sorts. This panda, rather than looking at like this other panda that is like, you know, passed on, it's kind of looking forward in a way. Forward, I associate looking forward with looking to the future, looking to the void, looking to the unknown. It just feels really serene here, just taking a moment to pause and feel the passing. So yeah, this feels like a very present, mindful type of card. I really, really love this card. Like these major arcana so far, these were some of the visuals that drove me to buy the deck in the first place, because visually these cards are really strong. So incredible start to this video, to this deck. Another favorite card, another major arcana, what a surprise. So the Devil, oh my gosh. Since I never knew tarot before picking up this deck, I had no idea what regular Devil cards or other cards could be like. And this card again just really spoke to me. I understood the meaning, the intention behind this card already. Feeling shackled, feeling hurt, feeling maybe betrayed, feeling helpless. All of those emotions are represented so well just with the tears and with the spiked collar here. The spiked collar could also be a metaphor of like keeping others away from you, whether you want to or because other people want to stay away from you. And the chain leading from the collar over to an unknown thing, there's just so much neutrality and so much openness. There's so much that could be interpreted or projected onto this card. That's another reason why I love the Way of the Panda Tarot. Not only are the illustrations and the watercolors absolutely beautiful, but so much of the scenery is very open to lots of interpretation, and it can apply to a lot of different situations. These are really great cards to use as metaphors for like anything, anything I can imagine. The Tower. Interesting thing about this tower compared to other towers is that this one depicts a panda striking down the tower on their own accord instead of something happening to you. So that's a cool touch. Another favorite, the Judgment card. Yes, I had to pick the Judgment card. I don't have too much to say about this besides visually, it is just gorgeous. Again, this being the very first tarot deck I ever had, this was the first ever Judgment card I've seen. I just love the idea of like the panda taking a really long nap in the field and then suddenly being called to wake up, we got things to do, we got places to see, we got ideas to make happen, or ideas to dream of even. There's just so much joy and renewal that I feel in this card with the new sky coming into color here. And again, flowers representing growth and abundance. The feathers can represent like the sword suit, the air suit, so lots of new ideas and new thoughts. And the dragonflies here can represent new freedoms. Just I associate bugs with freedom, you know, flying around and enjoying what they want to enjoy, going where they want to go. Cute, cool symbols in this card. Dream Space is the extra card in this deck. I think other versions have other extra cards, and actually in the newest version, I think all the extra cards are included in that version. Anyway, Dream Space is what we got for this deck's extra card. Before I did Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, which is like my preferred way of ordering the suits, but today I just feel like ordering it in a different way. You can check the timestamps below to fast forward to whichever section you want to see. Today, I just feel like starting with the Pentacles. In this deck, the Pentacles are represented by bamboo because, of course, pandas just love to eat bamboo. Pulling that to the side for later. And we got a favorite card here, Six of Pentacles. What I love about this card is that it doesn't depict just two people, it depicts more of a community. I think community is an aspect that shows through in a lot of cards in the way of the panda. As I've read more about like social activism and social justice and just gotten to witness it more and try to put concepts into practice, I can see more about how giving and receiving and generosity isn't only between two people. It really is within a whole community. Where do we get the resources? We get them from other people. We make them ourselves. We share our resources with other people, not only with like one specific person. So love the different ages, the different sizes, and the fact that there's multiple pandas here. Seven of Pentacles. Another favorite card is the Ten of Pentacles. We've got community again, and what a lovely community it is. This panda looks very funny. It's like half there. And in the bottom here, we've got these ancient Chinese coins, and we've also got lotuses representing resilience. Just a really beautiful scene here. Tons of bamboo, tons of coins, tons of wealth, and just tons of community. We've got some pandas that are really excited to be there. Look at this panda holding the bamboo like, hell yeah, I got my bamboo. And then this panda is just looking shy and or looking like serene, looking happy with what they've got, where they're at. Yeah, I just love all the different emotions. Again, especially this panda who's just half there. Page of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite Page of Pentacles cards. So this panda Page of Pentacles visually makes a lot of sense, with bamboo representing pentacles, representing our resources, things we work at, things we want to make happen and build on. Having this bamboo shoot be like a baby pentacle, like the seed of a pentacle, makes a lot of sense. And even though this panda has a shovel, it's not actually digging holes or doing anything with the shoot. It almost looks like it's contemplating the shoot. You know, I feel that a lot of times when we're starting a project or when we want to get into something, sometimes it can take a moment of introspection or reflection or planning, figuring out what to do. I imagine this panda is like visualizing what the shoot is going to become, what is needed for the shoot to thrive. I feel like it's just doing a lot of planning and visualizing right now at this stage. It's very cute. All right, we are moving on to the next suit, the Ace of Swords. The sword suit, I mean. Okay, Three of Swords, one of my favorite cards in this deck. Now that I know the typical Rider-Waite-Smith imagery of the three swords in a heart, I do understand where the symbolism here came from. But I do remember when I first had this deck, I did not understand why there were three swords sticking into this. It just felt very off from the different cards in the deck. I do like that there's a book instead of like stabbing into a heart. The way that I read the Three of Swords is more just expanding knowledge, expanding our thought, learning new things. This book can represent like the old knowledge that we have to let go or reintegrate into the new knowledge that we're getting as we learn these new things. Even the glasses being broken maybe represents like our old perspectives being shattered, and we have to find a new way of seeing the world. Oh, another favorite card is the Five of Swords. This panda's mouth is like this. It looks like it's sticking its tongue out. It's like, bleh. Lots of movement here as the papers and the feathers are all flying about. We got spilled ink. Since ink can represent like communication, the bottle can represent like containment or being all put together. The ink being spilled can mean that communication that is usually put together is not actually put together. It's going all over the place. It's not being contained. I like that in this card we can project ourselves either into this kind of panda or this kind of panda. Like, do we feel that maybe more aggression and more determination is needed to get our point across? Or do we feel like this panda where we feel like, oh my God, people are just doing so much right now. They're coming at me so much right now. And I feel very overwhelmed by all the words. I also associate swords with expectations. That's another like realm of logic and thought. So this can also mean like expectations that other people are piling onto you. Expectations that other people are like, yo, why aren't you doing this thing that I asked you to do? All the papers I asked you to sign. The Seven of Swords. The swords are just having a time. 5 and now 7. Interesting depiction to have the Seven of Swords be a pirate instead of a lot of other typical Seven of Swords cards where someone is very visually stealing swords. It is a metaphor for thinking of things in an unconventional way. Yeah, you might have to cut some corners or do some backhanded things like sometimes pirates do, but if it's all for your goal, does the end justify the means? The idea of being unconventional is really translated through with the pirate here. Granted, I got that from the guidebook, not really from myself understanding this card as it was. Okay, first of all, the guidebook mentions that this panda is called Jack Sparrow. What a very cute name. The star can represent like a North Star, like how people at sea use the North Star to guide them on their way. So the Seven of Swords, unconventional or rebellious as you may be, you are probably guided by your own inspiration, your own hopes, your own compass in a way, using this star. Nine of Swords, pulling that for a leader. Oh, the Ten of Swords. I totally missed this. Sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing. Sorry. So the Ten of Swords, a favorite card. This is a fantastic depiction of renewal. Again, mirror with realities being shattered, perspectives being shattered, what you thought you knew maybe being shattered. So instead of this panda being a real panda, it turns out that this panda was just like an old suit. Yeah, the old ways of us being, of us thinking, of us living are kind of being torn open. And there's a chance for renewal, but there's also just an acknowledgement of an ending with all the stuffing coming out and all the feathers, the insides all flying about. I'll have to look more into what mirrors, especially broken mirrors, can symbolize. Because off the top of my head, I only think about like perspectives, realities, warped perspectives maybe, because what we see in the mirror might not be accurate to what our reality is. Yeah, lots of symbols related to thought and renewal and, again, perspectives and reality in this card. The knights in this deck are so fun. Some of my favorite knights. All right, moving on to the Cups suit. Pulling that for leader. Six of Cups. So in this card, we see that either the cat has made a hat for the panda, or the panda has made a hat for itself, like based on the cat. I think it's super sweet. Actually, the Chinese word for panda is 熊猫, which literally means bear cat. So I think this cat hat is a really cute tie-in to the panda's Chinese name. It's a refreshing change to not have the Six of Cups depict two people that look like exactly the same or like younger version. This card feels more like, instead of turning our compassion only inward and only towards our younger selves, like the typical Six of Cups with like adult and child, like sharing emotion, sharing cups kind of imagery, this feels more like finding compassion with others who are different from us, some compassion for others who may seem different. Yeah, I guess solidarity is the word that I'm looking for. That's the main vibe of this card. And I like solidarity more as a Six of Cups kind of keyword or imagery here compared to just compassion for inner child. Because inner child, I don't know, doesn't always apply to every situation. So this is more like compassion and solidarity. The Eight of Cups, the butterflies here are flying away. This is a really sweet kind of card and very different from a lot of other Eight of Cups cards where the colors are very dark. This just has a lot of lightness. It's not just about saying goodbye in like a sad way, but it can also be like a loving, happy saying goodbye. Not that everything has to be happy or have like a positive spin. I guess I'm just saying that this deck depicts a lot of concepts or a lot of cards in a more neutral way and almost a more lighthearted way too. That can be still really deep. So yeah, Eight of Cups just saying goodbye to all these butterflies, letting them go, releasing them. This also reminds me of Marie Kondo's guide or method of decluttering, how she asks like, does this item bring me joy? And if it no longer brings us joy, if it no longer has a purpose and has a reason for being around, we don't have to like throw it away like cold-heartedly. We can still honor the item and what it has brought to us in the past, and we can lovingly say goodbye to it and release it. So it's not just happiness, it's more just with love, I release you and I welcome the new chapter, which is the Nine of Cups. The Knight of Cups, like I mentioned, the knights in this deck are some of my favorite knights. I love, love, love that this Knight of Cups isn't specifically about romance. Romance is depicted in a lot of Knight of Cups, and it's just nice to have depictions of this kind of love and romantic vibe that isn't just about wooing other people. I love the depiction here of this knight like stopping to enjoy the beauties of the world, like this butterfly. Especially now that I'm looking at it more, the branches behind actually look very drab and very harsh. So it almost feels like in a harsh world or in a harsh situation. What are the little beauties that we can find and focus on and get distracted by even? And this knight wearing the like rose, wearing the heart on like the chest here. It's just so beautiful. It's so lovely. I really, really love this Knight of Cups. All right, lastly, the wand suit. A favorite card here is the Five of Wands. Look how topsy-turvy they are. What an adorable, adorable depiction. Look at these squished faces. This panda just doesn't even have its face here. It's just in the back, tumbled over. Honestly, I don't have much more to say about this card. I just want to bring out, to point out the poses, the composition of this card. What is interesting though is the Five of Wands here look kind of all crossed up like this, right? But in the Six of Wands, it looks like the Five Wands here have all been uprighted, and someone is carrying the victorious Sixth Wand. And speaking of the Six of Wands, it's simplified to, instead of like a group of pandas cheering on or supporting this one panda, it's more just a one panda, friend to friend kind of thing. It feels more personal, more intimate with just one panda companion instead of like 5 or 6 other companions. I love the colors in the back here behind the wands here. The wand suit has a lot of color, and these colorful backgrounds, again, just make the deck so beautiful. I love that this Eight of Wands is not just 8 wands without anything else. Love the scenery here. You got shooting stars and this panda looking up, feeling inspired. Maybe this should be a favorite card. Yeah, I'll move it. 10 of Wands. And now the page. Almost done. The Knight of Wands. I picked this as one of my like significator-ish cards in my like tarot community build. Basically like my About Me video that I recently did. I love that this panda has climbed up into a tree. It's pointing at its next project, its next venture, and it's like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to do that one. I just love this idea, the depiction of this panda being in a high point. It feels like it's lofty. It's like, it's got its vision. It's got drive. It's got lots of confidence, very open and determined looking pose here. And even in like this night sky behind it, this panda has a lot of brightness and color to it. Almost like in the darkness, you're bringing all the light, you're bringing all the fire yourself. It's even got its like bandana or something tied on its head, so it's like ready for action. There's almost a bit of like role playing here, like pretending to be a superhero, or maybe it is a superhero. Oh man, I just love the dynamic feeling of this card here, the Knight of Wands. And a last favorite card is the King of Wands. Oh, lovely card. Love all this color. I think it's a great culmination of the Wands suit. Again, we were looking at all the different colors in the backgrounds. Here, colors in the backgrounds. This one did not have color, but that was the ace, so it makes sense. But yeah, the King of Wands having an absolute explosion of color, standing so tall in its power, with the crown so open and just ready to rule, ready to, I don't know, look at things, do things. Like, I just love all the color in this card. All right, so I pulled out some cards on the side, and let me share why. Let me make sure I got all of them here. Okay, let's see if this works. I know it's a bit squished, but that is the nature of me filming on my ottoman here. Okay, so I pulled some cards out because, like I mentioned, the community aspect, the supporting each other aspect comes through really strong in this deck, in my opinion. And some of these cards depict more pandas or more figures in these cards than in other decks. So, for example, the Two of Pentacles usually depicts just one person balancing all their pentacles, but this Two of Pentacles in Way of the Panda has 2 figures, 2 pandas, and they're in their hammock, they're playing their flute. No, they're eating bamboo together. These two pandas can represent maybe two parts of ourselves, or it can represent you doing this with someone else too. Five of Cups is another example because Five of Cups is usually depicting only one figure, looking sad, but this one we have a supporter, we have a friend here, a companion, being with us as we are feeling whatever we're feeling. Nine of Swords, this is a great one because oftentimes the Nine of Swords is only one person going through all their anxieties, but this one, we have another panda who was helping this panda not succumb to the anxieties, to the darkness, to the negativity, kind of pulling them back. Or, maybe the panda is letting them go closer to these swords, letting them get more of a taste what it's like. I guess who's to say if it's going backwards or forwards? But yeah, so in these three cards alone, at least, the fact that there's two figures, you can read that as two parts of ourselves, or you could say that is someone else who is helping you in this time when you pull this kind of card. The queens, 3 of the 4 queens have a little baby with them. Are you the smaller panda in here? Are you the bigger panda? Are you just observing the scenery of this Queen of Cups energy? Or are you the butterfly in this card, I guess? The Queen of Wands is the only one that doesn't feature a baby panda. It's just got a queen looking ferocious and wonderful on her throne. But yeah, so these queens also feature like multiple figures. Justice and Death, I talked about these as my favorite cards. I love that there are 2 figures in here too. Usually Death is just, actually Death is depicted very differently in Rider-Waite-Smith. With that skull, the skeleton, the Grim Reaper on their horse, and then like the 4 or 5 people fainting and dying and stuff. So very different depiction here with 2 pandas. Again, Justice usually is like one person holding their scales and their swords and stuff. So this represents 2. I feel that having more figures makes for a much more interesting scene than just having one panda or one figure. And depicting scenes with 2 figures instead of one, it makes these things a lot visually clearer to understand. 6 of Wands, I mentioned this as a favorite card. Interesting that there's only one panda here, one supporter, one pal, instead of like an entourage of 5 pandas. But on the other hand, 6 of Pentacles, only depicting 2 figures, now depicts 4 figures. So again, more aspect of community here. 5 of Pentacles and Strength, these are similar to other decks where 5 of Pentacles already does depict at least 2 figures. Well, in a lot of decks that I've seen. And Strength also depicts like usually a figure and like an animal of a different species. But still, I think it's worth highlighting because again, similar to 5 of Cups, we got consolation here and consolation here with the 5 of Pentacles. And Strength, similar to with the 6 of Cups, I should pull that out. Yeah, similar to the 6 of Cups. It's just cool having this friendship between species, compassion and solidarity between species. Okay, squeezing them all in here. Oh wow, it is cramped, but a lot of cards. I think there were like 20 cards this time compared to 15 in the Muse Tarot. That was my favorite cards of the Way of the Panda Tarot. Did you enjoy me babbling about this? Because I enjoyed babbling about it. I definitely encourage anyone to just do this kind of exercise. It's just fun deep diving into a deck and really talking about the cards that really sing to us and that spark a lot of creativity and introspection and how we can apply these in readings. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.